Hi guys, it's Amy. I'm in Richmond, Virginia right now because we are on a road trip, which has been a lot of fun. And if you want to hear a little more about that, kind of see some of our adventures, I'm posting pretty much the whole thing on Instagram. So if you want to follow me there, I'm just Amy Spitzbottom. But one of the good things about being on a road trip is I've had a lot of time to read, and so I've finished my next book, which is All Fall Down by Jennifer Weiner. This is definitely not the first Jennifer Weiner book I've read. I've read quite a lot by her. In general, I tend to like her. There are certain things she does that I'm not a super fan of. It can be a little heavy-handed, but she's a good writer with interesting stories, and this one is definitely an interesting story. So the premise is the main character, Allison, has a good but stressful life, a lot like all of us. She has a nice house in the suburbs, she has a 5-year-old daughter, she has a job as a writer. Things aren't that good between her and her husband, which is kind of where the tension of the book starts, as well as her daughter is very sensitive and kind of hard to manage. So Allison has developed a habit of taking pills to get her through the day. So her struggle with that is the premise of this book. A large part of it is her struggling to realize that she has a problem, which is an interesting story arc, but it can be frustrating for the reader because it's evident to us from really early on. Her inner monologue kind of goes, "I'm not like these people, I'm not a typical addict." Which on the one hand I feel is an important message for today, especially with the opiate epidemic. Drug abuse is hitting a lot of people who don't typically think of themselves as somebody who would end up in rehab. So it's good to kind of show that really typical suburban, more privileged lifestyle descending into what we don't always associate with that. But on the other hand, it doesn't really feel good to me for her to say, "Oh, I'm not like that," because there are a lot of less privileged people, and she never quite calls out race, but it's there. So on the one hand, it's believable because I feel like this is a lot of the internal monologue that goes on with these kind of women, especially, who do abuse drugs. But on the other hand, like, that felt a little icky to me. As I said before, it was pretty hard for me to read her denial and all of that, and it was an important part of the story, but I felt the pacing was a little bit strange, and the ending felt a little too fast and too slow at the same time. Overall, I think this is an interesting look at addiction, perhaps not the most interesting look at addiction. If you haven't read anything by Jennifer Weiner, I wouldn't suggest starting with this one. My favorites by her are Goodnight Nobody, which is a murder mystery that she wrote, but I'm a fan of murder mysteries. And I think The Next Big Thing is also good. Those are my personal recommendations. Those are my two favorites. If you already like Jennifer Weiner, or if you're kind of looking for this sort of look into addiction and the lies we tell ourselves about addiction and the internal monologue of realizing and then denying and that struggle that people go through, yeah, give it a go. I definitely wouldn't tell you not to read this, so knock yourself out. So I did something unusual for myself this time, which I read 2 books at once, so another one is also pretty close to being done. Hopefully I'll be getting you another review soon, which I'm really excited about. I kind of teased this one last time, and I'm getting closer to the end, and it's gonna be a good one. It's a good book. I can't wait to bring you that one. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I can read next, if you have any requests for reviews, let me know in the comments and I'll add them to my list. Anyway, thanks guys, bye!